886 for more information. Thank you so much.
Welcome to Community Centered, a show that features people in the community doing good things. Now, here are your hosts, Debbie O'Handley and Margi Kyle.
Happy Tuesday, Margie. How are you, my friend?
I am well.
Well, you look spectacular as usual.
Well, I got a call very early this morning.
Mm-hmm. And?
Oh, my goodness. It was, I think, about 6:30.
Okay.
From my dear friend Jim Cooper, who I absolutely love, from HOSPA, which is now VIA.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, you told me if ever I needed a speaker to call you. And I said, not at this hour.
Don't you love those phone calls?
Can you be here at 8:30? I went, oh, sure, why not? So,
Wow.
Yeah.
You did it.
I did.
You were the girl on call.
We talked about personality and color and who they were and their weaknesses and their strengths, so the colors their eyes go to.
Okay.
It was fun.
You look spectacular today. This
Thank
outfit
you.
is really you.
Well, I was going to be in all black again, and I thought, no, you can't talk about color in black.
Got to bring it.
I had to get some energy going.
That a girl. Well, I did a workshop this morning. Really fabulous. Learned a lot of stuff. You know, when you teach an old dog a new trick, it's kind of a really spectacular thing, right? So the days that we stop, no matter how old we are, learning, this is the day we can just lay down.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
So I'm super excited about that. And yesterday, we had, I think, 23 CMPD police officers and sheriff at Hope House. And no, there wasn't anything spectacular going on. It was a training. So they are trying to train all of our officers in the community on what they call CIT, Crisis Intervention Training.
Okay.
And so this was an opportunity to have a conversation, to do a lunch and learn, to tell them about Hope House, and to give them a different perspective from someone who's lived homeless. So
Yeah.
it was really informative, and they were really a wonderful group of people.
Now, were some of the people who lived there?
I will be honest, most of them left because, you know, they're terrified. And
Well, that's what I was wondering.
it's a challenge, but one stayed, and one was brave enough to tell her story, very engaging, very illuminating, shining the light on some of things that she experienced. And it was to educate each other about different things, and it was an awesome opportunity. And so I hope we just keep moving the needle forward with these narratives that we, in
with
difficult
you at the helm,
conversations.
it will.
Let's only hope so. Don't give me a microphone. You know how I feel about a microphone. So what else is going on?
Well, I am thrilled with our guests today.
I'm excited. I'm going to try to be a good student today
Yeah.
and listen
And
intently.
people have to listen to the whole thing.
Okay.
And we do encourage call-ins.
Okay.
I know that Melanie Houston is my grant writer for Little Smiles.
Oh, well, hey now. That's a different conversation. I just came in because I wanted her jacket today, but that's awesome.
And has been ever since we started.
Okay.
And I couldn't have done it without her because that's her profession, not mine.
I bow humbly to
Yeah.
all grant writers. It is a foreign language, so thank you for
You're
what you
welcome.
do.
And, you know, she's also an author
Okay.
and has written many books and she edits, she does everything.
Oh, that's amazing.
So I've been talking about writing my book for years, and I think she's having a seminar to maybe get some of us up and actually doing again.
Wow.
So I can't wait to ask her about that and have her share that because she is the calmest, pulled together, direct woman I know.
That's awesome.
And when she speaks, you listen
Okay.
because you know that what she's saying is right.
Listeners, I hope you're listening to that and you are going to stop what you're doing and pay attention to who our guests are today so that you can learn with us.
With her is her better half. They both are the best of the
Okay.
best. And Dan is a John Maxwell coach.
Oh, boy.
And we'll introduce him when his time comes too. But, you know, if you ever have a down day and you talk to them for an hour, you don't have a down day anymore.
So are you saying we're in the presence of a power couple?
Yes.
Would you say that, Margie?
Yeah. I would, but a very soft power
Okay.
couple
That's amazing. I think,
that can read how you're feeling within a minute.
oh, good.
Yeah.
Well, I think in this post COVID world, what we're missing is some leadership and some teaching. And I think that we were in survival mode for so long, so very long. And coming out of it, people are looking to do things in a new and different way. And I think, Dan, what you offer, I think people need good leaders, right? I have a funny story about a leader that I'll share with you. One time I did a workshop and it was around, they used equine therapy as part of the workshop, and it was for leaders. And I was put into an arena with a horse in front of an audience, a stadium of people. And they were like, your horse's name is Ray. And you're going to tell Ray, we're going to walk Ray around the arena. And I was like, I got this. I know my way around a horse. Not, but I did. And so I pulled on his rein and I tugged and I tugged and he went nowhere. And he kind of pawed his hoof in the sand and he wasn't moving. And I was humiliated in front of all of these people. But the person giving the workshop stopped and said, think for a minute. What's happening here? She said, turn around and tell Ray what you want him to do. Tell him, we're going to walk around the arena. You're going to jump over the hoop. You're going to go through the barrel and we're going to come back into the center. And I was like, you got to be kidding me. I need to tell this horse what we're going to do, because I thought as a leader, people would just follow, right? So I turned around and I made eye contact with this horse named Ray. And I told him exactly what we were going to do. And he followed me. And the moral to that is that good leaders tell people where they're going. And I hadn't had that experience until Ray, the horse, taught me that. And
He was having a good laugh.
I always think about that now. And every time I speak or do something, I think I need to tell people where I'm going and why and what we're doing. So like I said, I'm going to be a student today. I'm going to try really hard to listen and let them lead me on what I can glean from them and their knowledge. So I'm excited about that too.
Well, we both have nonprofits.
Mm-hmm.
And when I hired Melanie, I knew I was in good hands.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And we've done very well and very easy to work with, just very amazing.
The grant world is a foreign language.
It is to me. Yeah.
It is getting progressively more and more challenging to write a grant. Grant funders are asking questions now that are really, really directed in the movement. But in this workshop I did this morning, they were talking about that. How do you say what you do works?
Yeah.
How do you do that besides the narrative? What metrics are you using? And
well, I mean, for us, we've gone from maybe 1,000 kids a year to between 100 and 500 a month.
That's crazy.
So
That's
something's
wild.
working.
It's of course it's working. Little Smiles is putting smiles on people's face no matter what the circumstance. So I know when we come back, I'm going to be really looking forward to what they have to say. And I hope that our listeners, if you have a call, you can call 844-STUDIO-4 or 844-788-3464. Call in. I'm sure Dan will be excited to take your call. Melanie, I'm sure will take a call as well. And of course, there's always Margi and I that we can give you our sage advice from the nonprofit perspective. So when we come back, we'll be introducing our guests. I'm excited.
I am too.
Community Centered with Debbie O'Hanley and Margi Kyle will return after this short break on 105.9, 100.7 WSIC.
Well, no rain for a while. Sure is nice to have a dry stretch of weather, isn't it? That continues. Plenty of sunshine today. It'll be a little bit cooler. High temperatures around the lake around 50, maybe some low 50s this afternoon. Dropping back to around freezing overnight. On our way to the mid-50s tomorrow, and slowly but surely warming up a little closer to 60 as we get toward the end of the week. Although rain chances will come back heading into the weekend. That's your forecast from the WSIC Weather Center. I'm meteorologist Chase Myers.
Here is your WSIC community calendar. Merlefest is back, April 25th through the 28th at Wilkes Community College. featuring nearly 100 performers, including Old Pro Medicine Show, Turnpike Troubadours, the Teskey Brothers, Nickel Creek, and more. Tickets and information at merlefest.org. Listen each morning to Good Morning LKN for your chance to win tickets. Mooresville Parks and Recreation is excited to bring The Great Magician Murder Mystery Dinner Theater to the Charles Mack Citizen Center, Saturday, February 10th. This is not your usual murder mystery experience. An evening of theater and mystery that will have you laughing and gasping. The Great Magician Murder Mystery Dinner Theater, Saturday, February 10th. For more info, visit ourtownstage.com. Want to attend the Charlotte Home and Remodeling Show? Throughout the day, you have your chance to win tickets. Listen to Good Morning LKN, the Home Ad Show, the News Drive at 5, and the Scoreboard. Each show gives you your chance to win. The Charlotte Home and Remodeling Show, February 23rd through the 25th. Looking for a night of bluegrass and Americana? Darren and Brooke Aldridge are coming to Kane Center for the Arts Friday, February 9th. This husband and wife team are celebrating their 9th recorded project together, This Life We're Living. Darren and Brooke Aldridge, Kane Center for the Arts, Friday, February 9th. kanearts.org. That's CAIN arts.org. Have an event you would like to tell people about? Yard sales, estate sales, and everything in between? Visit WSICnews.com and click on events to submit your event today.
Call 844-STUDIO-4 now to join the community-centered discussion with Debbie O'Hanley and Margi Kyle on 105.9, 100.7 WSIC.
Welcome back. I am with a friend and a colleague and somebody I am just enjoying knowing and learning what your life is growing into. Grant writer, publisher, you do editing, human resources, ghostwriter. You just do it all. And during break, I always say to Debbie, we should keep the mics on because during break is where we get a lot of meat, you know. I've stopped journaling, and I think I need to just start doing that again.
Do that.
Yeah, absolutely. But you have an exciting program that I cannot wait to hear more about.
Well, I'm relaunching book coaching services
Okay.
for emerging and seasoned authors. And on February 15th at 7 p.m., I'm going to do with my colleague a free book coaching webinar. And it's to initiate the journey for people who have a book inside, they haven't finished it, or they've been wanting to start it and they have a fear of where do I begin? So we're going to talk about that on the free webinar. And then once there's an interest, you think, okay, I need this, I want to do this, then we can sign you up for one-on-one coaching, group coaching. For example, this weekend, I have an author that I've been working with for a little over a year. She's a medical doctor, and she was caught up in a cult, a very intelligent woman for 14 years.
Oh my
and
gosh.
Her book is Anatomy of a Cult, and she's coming in from Michigan to the Lake Norman area, and I'm going to spend the entire weekend with her finalizing, polishing her manuscript, working with a graphic designer on the cover, and getting it ready for printing. So I'm preparing, I'm going back and editing and looking at the journey that we can take her audience on so that they stay engaged in her book. And she has something to be proud of because when she first started, she thought she had a book. But my other book coach, I handed her to Miss Coleman, and she helped her craft her chapters and get some meat there. And then I took it from there, and we went line by line on Zoom because she's in Michigan.
Yeah.
And we have meetings twice a week. We schedule time, and line by line by line. Now I'm going back through it and doing the polishing and working with her. And the change and the transition that I've seen in her as a writer When she read to me the final part of her book, it was wow, you have done this. Amazing progression from when she first started writing to now finishing.
You've written some beautiful books too.
Well, I did. I am an award-winning author
Yes, you
and
do.
publisher.
Yes.
My book that I wrote for young girls, where I use hair as a journey and
It
a
is
metaphor.
beautiful.
My husband, who's with me, and we commissioned an artist in the Bahamas, where my husband's family is from, and it's all watercolor and tea stain. And we've won 3 awards with
That's
my
gorgeous.
It's called my Africa hair.
Yeah.
And I use that as a journey for self-esteem.
Yes.
And I have pictures. We have pictures of young girls, women who have hair. There's even a picture of a woman with no hair. But we talk about the journey, and it's particularly geared toward young girls with ethnic hair.
Yes.
Because that still is a topic, and it still is an issue for our young girls and our young men. And I felt that it was important to talk about it from that perspective because there's a lack of understanding about that, particularly in the school system.
Yeah.
And I was raised to take pride in my hair. My grandmother was a beautician, and she was beautiful.
Yeah.
And she taught me how to carry myself and how to take care of that. But not everyone has that in their family. But more importantly, the society that we live in doesn't recognize it as regal sometimes, or the fact that there's so much diversity in it, they don't understand it.
Right.
So I use the book to draw that out.
How can people get a hold of you?
The best way is if you want to email and just correspond and to get registered for the book webinar, contact me at info, at Alabaster. Remember the Bible study, the Bible story, the woman with the alabaster box? So info at ALA, B as in boy, A, S as in Sam, TERBOX, media.com.
Okay.
And I'll get you the link to the webinar. And
Now,
I can
is there a cost for that?
The webinar on February 15th is free.
What a gift.
Yeah, it's free. And as a part of Alabaster Box Media Group services, like you said, I help publish. I'm an editor. I have edited my team, Ella Coleman. She had a magazine, and I edited for her for over 10 years.
Okay.
And she had Zig Ziglar, Dr. Miles Monroe.
Wow.
We would edit everything that came in the door. So I got a chance to work with those kind of great people. And then I went on as an executive editor for Who's Who Publishing under the leadership of Sonny Martin in Columbus, Ohio. And what a character. Oh, my goodness. We highlighted the achievements of African American leaders in 26 cities around this country. And I was executive editor. And I had the opportunity to ghostwrite for 2 state Supreme Court justices that did not have the time or know what to do in terms of writing a forward. And he would say, don't worry about it. I'm going to pair you with Melanie. And I would listen to them and just take notes, and I would write their forwards. And I think one state Supreme Court justice changed 2 small words. And I just had the biggest smile because I said, I did it. But I had a team of editors under me around the country and freelance writers. And so I took all of that. And while I was working for Purpose, I learned how to do very large government proposals.
Okay.
A friend of ours on the team had his own energy marketing company, and he needed someone to help do proposals one night. And I came upstairs and helped him out, and we won the contract for the city of Richmond, Virginia, to ship gas. So that's how I learned. And so I took the proposal writing experience and transferred it to the nonprofit side for grant writing. And that's how I transitioned and know how to do grants, because I did very, very large government proposals for city, state, and local governments in 6 states. So that's what I bring in terms of how to put the proposal together, what wins, what doesn't win, and set reasonable expectations, because you don't win every grant. Margie, you know that.
I
We don't
do.
win every grant we go after, but the important ones we've won, haven't we?
Yes, we have.
And
The big
I'm
ones.
telling you, I'm looking for bigger ones in 2024 for Little Smiles.
Yeah.
We're gonna step out
Okay, and step up.
and step up. I'm gonna put some more money in your
But so
budget.
many people are stuck with a book inside of them.
We're going to help you get that book out of
Yeah,
you.
I
I
know.
promise you. I promise you. If let us work with you, we do the one-on-one, we do the group. Like I said, this weekend, Dan and I are hosting our author for a final. We're calling it a vision retreat. She's going to wrap this book up, and when she gets back on that plane Monday afternoon to go back to Michigan, she's going to have the biggest smile on her face. She's already talking to people about her forward and the testimonials and all of that.
You
She's
are living
excited.
your dream because you're helping people.
Yeah.
And this is only a part of the dream, Margie.
I know.
The dream is starting to evolve even out of my journaling. God expands your territory.
Yes.
When you sit and just get quiet and you let him talk to you.
Yes.
And he's even expanded the vision for Alabaster Box Media Group. So I tell everyone that's listening, don't miss the journaling. Don't sleep on that. Oh, I used to journal. Go buy yourself a pretty journal or one that's sturdy and sit down whenever you have that quiet time, whether it's in the morning or late at night, and just be still. And I can't tell you what comes out and what comes in. And I make sure I distinguish between my thoughts and his thoughts. and in doing that, it has brought me comfort when I've had a season of loss.
Yes. Yes.
Understanding when I'm going through a trial.
Mhm.
And peace when I couldn't find the peace that I needed.
Right.
He that's the one thing he says to me all the time. Peace. I give you
But
peace.
people just don't sit still, do they?
We're so busy.
Yeah.
And Dan and I, as entrepreneurs, we're always busy. But I have found that it's more valuable for me to get up in the morning and sit still.
Yeah.
And I can accomplish more in terms of what my vision should look like by that time that I spend sitting there.
Yeah.
And then I go about my day. Before I would rush, like, okay, I got to hurry up with this journal. I got to hurry up and, get my devotions out of the way. Because I got emails I got to pull out.
And Facebook.
And the social media. We don't even want to talk about that. I had to sit still.
Yeah.
And when in doing that, so much more came out of the quiet time. And actually, my Africa Hair was written 80% of it, I'll say 70% of it in one evening.
That's
It was
the most
just
beautiful
breathed
book.
in.
Yeah.
And we can't underestimate or take for granted what that time does for us as human beings.
Yes.
And it's an interesting thing too. She actually added my first book in 2009, and I wrote it with two other authors, and we had literally spent 18 months trying to decide. we getting ready to write a book. Here's what's going to go in it. We would write some, and then we would talk about it. She came in and said, "Look, y'all are taking too long to write this book. This book needs to be done." And so within the course of literally 3 months, we had a draft of the book done. Because once you get a coach.
When we're going to have to take a break in a
Yeah,
minute. When we
yeah.
come back, I
Hold
want
that
to hear
thought,
more.
Dan.
Yep, got it.
Is this your ebook?
W. Hanley and
Well,
Margi
mate.
Kyle will return after this short break on 105.9, 100.7 WSIC.
Well, no rain for a while. Sure is nice to have a dry stretch of weather, isn't it? That continues. Plenty of sunshine today. It'll be a little bit cooler. High temperatures around the lake around 50, maybe some low 50s this afternoon. Dropping back to around freezing overnight. On our way to the mid-50s tomorrow, and slowly but surely warming up a little closer to 60 as we get toward the end of the week. Although rain chances will come back heading into the weekend. That's your forecast from the WSIC Weather Center. I'm meteorologist Chase Myers.
These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. What's up? I'm tired of feeling so bloated.
That used to be me. Then I got this.
Align Bloating Relief plus food digestion. A probiotic, right?
Yeah, it works naturally with your gut to help soothe occasional bloating and gas. Plus, it has vitamin B12 to aid digestion by helping convert food to cellular energy. 2 benefits, 1 capsule.
Align Bloating Relief plus food digestion from the #1 doctor-recommended probiotic brand. Get $5 off at alignprobiotics.com.
For the ones who get it done, the most important part is the one you need now. And the best partner is the one who can deliver. That's why millions of maintenance and repair pros trust Grainger, because we have professional-grade supplies for every industry, even hard-to-find products. And we have same-day pickup and next-day delivery on most orders. But most importantly, we have an unwavering commitment to help keep you up and running. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Hi, this is Josh Wadobe. Join me Thursdays at 4 p.m. for Dollars and Cents, a show that focuses on your personal financial journey and the markets around us. That's Dollars and Cents, Thursday afternoons at 4, here on WSIC.
I feel like I'm constantly cleaning hair off my bathroom floor. At least my Swiffer Sweeper makes it easy. Sweeper heavy-duty dry cloths have ultra-thick pads to trap and lock hairs, like a hair magnet. And when I'm finished cleaning up my hair, Sweeper takes care of his too. Now the hair's gone, all thanks to Swiffer. Try Swiffer Sweeper heavy-duty dry cloths. I promise you'll love them or your money back. And also try Swiffer Sweeper Wet to make quick work of tough, sticky messes.
Hey everyone, it's Joe Montana. Spreading the word about pneumococcal pneumonia, a potentially serious bacterial lung disease that can be life-threatening. If you're 65 or older like me, you're at increased risk. So, what's the game plan? A strong defense. Pneumococcal pneumonia can strike at any time in any season, so you shouldn't wait to help protect yourself. Talk to your doctor or pharmacist about vaccination today and learn more at knowpneumonia.com. That's KNOW pneumonia.com.
Sponsored by Pfizer.
This is a Bloomberg Money Minute. J.P. Morgan Chase, the nation's biggest bank, says it plans to open more than 500 new branches, hire 3,500 workers over the next 3 years. It's also expanding into new markets like low-income and rural communities, as well as those aimed at the wealthy. Another 1,700 branches will be renovated. But DocuSign is the latest big tech company to cut costs by cutting jobs. It plans to lay off over 500 workers in its sales and marketing units. On Wall Street today, after yesterday's sell-off, stocks are mixed and little moved. Right now, the Dow is up 0.25%. The Nasdaq, though, down by about 1/3, and the S&P 500 is flat. The dating site Bumble launching a deception detector, an artificial intelligence-empowered program to find scams and fake dating profiles. Meantime, ahead of this fall's election, Meta says it'll begin labeling more posts that were created using AI tools to prevent misinformation and deception on Facebook, Instagram, and Threads. Tom Busby, Bloomberg Radio.
Community Centered continues now. Here are your hosts, Debbie O'Hanley and Margi Kyle on 105.9 100.7 WSIC.
Welcome back to Community Centered. It is Tuesday, and I am here with my friend Margi and our new friends Dan and Melody. Dan, you were telling us right before the break.
Yes.
And again, during the break, we heard a fascinating story of how you two came together, and I'm so sorry our mics weren't hot to be able to catch that. But
we got to talk to Bill about that.
Yes, we're gonna have to retrain Bill, Margi.
Yeah. Isn't it amazing how some of the best conversations
They
occur
do.
over
Yeah.
the kitchen, what I call the kitchen tables?
Yes.
And you wish you could capture them in some way because they're informal, they're authentic, and nobody's trying to put on the air for anybody. They're just talking.
There's a lot of sweet stuff that happens then, for sure.
It does. doesn't
So
it?
what were you telling us? I was
Well,
fascinated.
Melanie was talking about book coaching, and I wanted to emphasize the fact that sometimes you have a book inside you and you've been trying to get it out all by yourself. And when you bring a coach along with you to partner with you on that process, it gives you a couple of things. It's the same, my work is dealing with leadership, coaching, and executive coaching, but the book coaching and that are so parallel that sometimes we talk about the different strategies we're using to help people accomplish their goals. So one of the things I was saying before we closed was I wrote a book in 2009 with 2 other co-authors, and we had been trainers and consultants together. Combined, we had like 65 years of experience. So we said, let's put this together in a book. So for 18 months, we were talking about the book, And Melanie finally said, look, guys, you guys got
They
something
were
here.
talking. That was the problem.
Yeah, we were talking. We were writing some too, but and she came in. We've been for almost 2 years trying to write this book, and she came in within 3 months. We had a draft copy.
Wow.
And so I'm saying all that to say that there's so many people out there that have a book in them.
That's
and
right.
that whole notion of coaching, and especially if you can get a good book coach.
Yes.
I think Melanie and her team are extremely excellent on how to do that. And it's even a framework. I mean, one of the things that we do when we do coaching is we like to have a framework that we want people to resonate with. And so if you look at Melanie's framework, it's what can I say it? And it's something we call the hero's journey.
Mm.
And the hero's journey, this guy named Joseph Campbell wrote this thing in the 1920s. And it's a journey that almost every single major book that you've ever read, they take their hero through this journey. It's a 12-step journey that they go through. And if you ever looked at anything like Star Wars is a good example of the hero's journey where Luke becomes this fantastic fighter and he kills he at least comes up. But on the way, Margie, what you said earlier is Luke, he was able to he was blessed with a mentor.
Yes. Oh, I cannot say enough about mentors.
And mentors, I tell you, and that's kind of the hero's journey. A hero goes through all kinds of stuff, goes into hell just about.
Yeah.
And as he begins to revive himself, they come up with a hero. I mean, they come up with a mentor.
And I was sharing you how many times I had met Mark Victor Hansen.
Yes.
And I bought his tapes years ago and wrote my own book on my life.
Mm-hmm.
Where I was, what I was going to do with it, how I was going to get there, when I was going to get there.
Yeah.
And I did it all. And I cannot say enough for coaching and what you do.
Yeah.
John Maxwell is another one of my favorites. And when Melanie and we were working together on our first grant, and you shared with me what Dan did, I went, oh my gosh, I've got to get to listen to him too.
And he's not just a coach, he's a mentor.
Yeah.
And sometimes I sneak and I listen to his conversations with his coaches.
So I was going to ask, in your household, when you have this power couple that you are, the entrepreneurs, what does peeling potatoes look like at your house? Are you coaching and mentoring and teaching each other, or is there ever a moment when you're not?
I'm teaching him to cook right now.
Okay.
He's my sous chef.
Dial in.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
He's my sous chef.
And the interesting thing about it in terms of birth orders, we're both oldest child.
Mm-hmm. Firstborn.
Firstborn. And you can imagine what oldest, and we both come from large families. So we were the ones, the dominant person, and we took care of all the kids, and they had to do what we said and all of that. So you can imagine in a household where it gets pretty, sometimes I have to bow down. I said, look, let me just keep my mouth shut because I can't win this.
Yeah.
Oh, well done. Well done, Melanie.
No, I'm not there yet. He's still.
You're picking your battles.
Yeah, exactly. And so do I, because we do have very conflicting opinions about what's a priority, what's not.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And we work together, we live together.
Yeah, but you have the same end goal.
We do.
Yeah. And that's what keeps it together.
And sometimes I don't want to listen to what he has to say. And then, after I do, it's, okay, he's right. Mm-hmm. Let me, settle down and buckle in. And I listen. But I'd never thought when we first married that this would be the journey, that it would look like this, that we would complement each other from a coaching standpoint. The book coaching for me emerged out of me editing and helping people to finish. And it's the part that I love. I love sitting there and, going into a sentence and saying, tell me more about your grandmother.
Yeah.
I want to know about her hands and her feet. And one of my authors, because I started asking her questions about her grandmother in Jamaica, she stopped in that for about 2 weeks, delved, and she found out family history that she had no idea she had. And the only thing I asked her was, tell me about your grandmother's hands. And what did she do? And she realized her grandmother was an entrepreneur in Jamaica. She said, well, wait a minute. She got up every morning and she had chickens and she took the eggs and she came back home with fish. So she sold the eggs and that's how she fed her family and took care of everything.
Wow.
And sold other things. And so that brought that out. That's the fun part.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The discovery.
The discovery of
Yeah.
what you have inside. You have
Mhm.
information and knowledge that you don't realize you have. You have stories that you don't know that you have.
Yeah.
And grant writing is very similar because it is telling a story.
Yeah.
And it's telling a story in a specific way with a limited amount of characters and word count. It used to be you
Yeah,
could write, on and on. They don't want to read all that. They don't want to look at all your brochures.
No.
They tell you right up front, this is my question. And sometimes they'll ask you 3 questions and tell you you have 1,000 characters. Really?
Mm-hmm.
But that's my job, is to help tell your story within the limitations of the grant itself and to make it a compelling story so that when those people evaluate the grant, they feel what you do. They understand what you do.
Yeah.
And that's important, is to tell that story. And you may not win the grant, but sometimes that's okay because you'll get in the top 1, 2, or 3. They'll remember you the next year.
It's an exercise,
Mhm.
right? And each time I feel, even for us, each time we write, we get better and
There
better
you go.
because we learn how to tell the story in a different way. Question for you, Dan. Is there a difference between coaching and leadership? Or how would you say they differ?
Well, I think there's a lot of overlap, of course, and many of the people have used coaching to move from managing to leaders.
Mm-hmm.
And I think most of the people that say come to us, and a lot of times they come to us because there's something missing in the way that they
Are they
they
stuck
associate.
sometimes?
Well, it's stuck sometimes, and it's almost like what you were saying before. Sometimes it's like the horse that you
My
they
friend Ray.
the horse essentially. What happens a lot of times. It's amazing how a lot of people just expect people to know what's in their head,
Yes.
and so they tell their employees, "Look, just go do the job."
Right.
And the employee has no idea about what their expectations
Yeah.
is. That's a manager. A lot of managers do that. But leaders, they make sure that the person understands exactly what their expectations are. And again, we can measure those expectations. I want you to do X, Y, and Z by such and such date. And I want you to come back and explain to me what you did versus go do the work. And so we find out that coaching helps leaders. It informs leaders about what's some of the best practices of business or nonprofits. What's the best practice of that? And so, for example, one of the things that we do know about leadership has a lot to do with this whole notion of what kind of goals do you set for yourself? And we know we talk a lot about that. And I think that one of the things that we know and a leader understands, there's a difference between goal setting and goal getting or goal achievement. Those are 2 different processes.
Absolutely.
And so you help a leader understand, okay, I gotta get real clear about what my goal is. I gotta do exactly what you said, Margie. I gotta understand what it is I'm going after. I gotta
That's
be
right.
really clear about it. I gotta understand this is what I want. I even gotta know when I wanted it to happen. That's goal setting.
And I always say, what are you going to be wearing? What are you going to be, sitting in?
How are you going to be breathing?
That's right.
And it's amazing how
Because
that.
then you really start feeling it.
Yeah, and when you do that, then it becomes a compelling goal.
Yeah.
So some people, of course, we just finished January, and some people basically have said essentially, I want to lose 40 pounds.
And on that note, we'll be right back.
I'll take my jewelry off.
I did. You see, I
I'm
did that.
100.7 WSIC. Local starts here.
Well, no rain for a while. Sure is nice to have a dry stretch of weather, isn't it? That continues. Plenty of sunshine today. It'll be a little bit cooler. High temperatures around the lake around 50, maybe some low 50s this afternoon. Dropping back to around freezing overnight. On our way to the mid-50s tomorrow, and slowly but surely warming up a little closer to 60 as we get toward the end of the week. Although rain chances will come back heading into the weekend. That's your forecast from the WSIC Weather Center. I'm meteorologist Chase Myers.
Here is your WSIC community calendar. Merle Fest is back, April 25th through the 28th at Wilkes Community College, featuring nearly 100 performers, including Old Crow Medicine Show, Turnpike Troubadours, the Teskey Brothers, Nickel Creek, and more. Tickets and information at merlefest.org. Listen each morning to Good Morning LKN for your chance to win tickets. Mooresville Parks and Recreation is excited to bring The Great Magician Murder Mystery Dinner Theater to the Charles Mack Citizen Center, Saturday, February 10th. This is not your usual murder mystery experience. An evening of theater and mystery that will have you laughing and gasping. The Great Magician Murder Mystery Dinner Theater, Saturday, February 10th. For more info, visit ourtownstage.com. Want to attend the Charlotte Home and Remodeling Show? Throughout the day, you have your chance to win tickets. Listen to Good Morning LKN, the Home Ag Show, the News Drive at 5, and the Scoreboard. Each show gives you your chance to win. The Charlotte Home and Remodeling Show, February 23rd through the 25th. Looking for a night of bluegrass and Americana? Darren and Brooke Aldridge are coming to Kane Center for the Arts Friday, February 9th. This husband and wife team are celebrating their 9th recorded project together, This Life We're Living. Darren and Brooke Aldridge, Kane Center for the Arts, Friday, February 9th. kanearts.org. That's CAIN arts.org. Have an event you would like to tell people about? Yard sales, estate sales, and everything in between? Visit WSICnews.com and click on events to submit your event today.
Prioritizing your health is one of the best ways to take care of yourself. From routine visits to the joys of pregnancy to the illnesses that stop you in your tracks, Iredell Health System will be by your side. Learn more at iredellhealth.org.
Call now to speak with Debbie O'Hanley and Margi Kyle at 844-STUDIO-4. It's community-centered on 105.9, 100.7 WSIC.
Oh my goodness, this day has flown by. We have had some really great conversations off air and on air. And Dan, tell our listeners how they can get in touch with you. Should someone need some of your wonderful skill here, what would be that way?
Well, the best way is through my website, danhoustonassociates.com.
Okay.
And then my telephone number, and I like answering phone still. I'm still that old school type person. So 704-750-9670. And they can reach me in any one of those outlets. And I like that the idea that if people think that they need coaching, just call and we'll give them a 30-minute to a 45-minute complimentary
that's beautiful.
coaching call.
Yeah.
An actual coaching call, not just exploring. Okay,
some people don't even know what coaching is.
Yeah.
I know they don't they? Yeah, they don't. And we think that it's a good idea that when you have, I think every point, I've had a coach now since 2010, and Paul Martinelli and his group has been coaching me. And I can't tell you how much I've grown as a result of having someone walk alongside me. And I used to think, I don't need a coach. I got all this education and I got all this stuff. But once I started working with a coach, my level just took over. Yeah. I'll give you one example. In 1 year, I wanted to make double my income. Mm-hmm. I said, let me double my income. And I figured out I couldn't do it by myself. So I got a hold of Paul Martinelli and some other coaches in that setting. And they helped walk me through so that by the end of the year, we were doing our income taxes. And sure enough, I had doubled my income.
Yeah.
And that just gives you an idea. Okay, you can't always do it by yourself, but you need somebody just to walk alongside you. Now, a coach is not a therapist. They don't, they're not going to tell you what to do. But here's the thing, and you said it earlier, we have whatever we need inside us. Uh-huh. So it's almost like Michelangelo when he's chipping away at the block. And he says, I see the angel inside.
Yeah.
And all I have to do is chip the things away and the angel will appear. And that's pretty much, when you think about coaching, it's so much inside of us that we already know. And because we have doubt, we don't have the right belief.
Right.
We don't have the right
thinking
about no confidence, no self-discipline. And sometimes we can't really reach our goals. And so I think a coach helps to set goals. It also helps you to overcome obstacles to your goals. It's like Melanie again with book coaching. There's that, you know, there's a hesitancy, but there's also some external things that happen to you that you have to overcome.
Now, how young could you start maybe some of your kids with a coach?
Oh, that's such a good question. Because a lot of times the kids need more of a mentor than they
Yes.
do a
Well, and I would
coach.
agree, maybe just a mentor
Yeah,
would be,
but
yeah.
have a good mentor that's been there with the kids,
Yeah.
knows what the kids going through, and all of that. And I love being mentor to young
I do
kids and
too.
young
Yeah.
adults. You know, I'm kind of a sage now. I'm an elder in my communities, and so I love working with people that are younger than me. Even a 50-year-old is
Yeah.
younger than me, and I can become a mentor and a coach to them. And I love that. That gets me up in the morning. I get
Yeah.
all excited
Yeah.
about coaching and mentoring young folks because I can see sometimes where they could be going where they don't see.
That's right.
And I'd love to bring out this is what your vision ought to be, and this is what I see in you. So let's see if we can
Yeah.
spend some time bringing that out of you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You just said, Dan, that there are some external things that you need to overcome before you can do some goal setting. Like, just talk briefly about that.
Yeah, the external things sometimes actually become internal things. Like, for example, how you grew up. And there's a
Yes.
lot of people that grew up in poverty, and they still have that view that I can't reach any further than my parents have reached. None of my parents have ever made more than $30,000, $40,000 a year. So who am I to think that I can make 100,000? So on one hand, they look back at what their parents' messages, what the parents had said to them, and sometimes that's an obstacle. And sometimes we have other external obstacles where we don't have the education we need, or we don't have the kind of learning that we need. We don't necessarily have the resources we need. Those are external things, but you can get those things. That's the beauty of it. But a lot of people don't believe they can get those things. And so when you get into coaching, you look at, okay, how do we get over these limiting, some people call it limiting beliefs.
Mm-hmm.
How do we get over these obstacles
Yeah.
that's been holding you back? Because it's funny how obstacles don't disappear overnight. They've been holding you back for years and years
That's
and
right.
years.
Yeah.
And so coming to grips with that sometimes is painful for people. I know I still have some stuff, and I'm a coach, and I've done a lot of work with myself. Sometimes I catch myself saying stuff that, Dan, how did you do something that stupid? You know, I make those kind of statements. You know, and that it seems on the surface that that's not a really, it's not a big deal because you laugh at yourself, you call yourself but it does, your subconscious mind captures stuff like that. So you have to catch yourself and turn that around. Dan, you're not really stupid. You might be a little bit inexperienced in this area, or you may have to study a little bit more here, but you're not stupid. And that's the thing that
And I
sometimes
think
it's
sometimes
external
that's where
things. It's self.
journaling comes into play too, and visualizing who you really want to be, where you want to go, how are you going to get there?
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
And once you can start visualizing yourself in that position, I know when I first started with my TV show, I got the captain's chair, and I could vision myself sitting in that chair doing my show, and all of a sudden there I was doing it. And I think that's so powerful.
It is powerful.
But you do need somebody to be there right by your side sometimes saying, you can do it, you can do it.
I can't tell you times I've talked to my coachees and they've said, you know, Dan, that's a good idea. I'm going to try. And I stop them. What do you mean you're going to try?
I'm going to do it.
You're going to do it? Stop saying these qualifying things. I mean, you're going to actually do it. And it's amazing. Something that small captures their attention. And they catch themselves in a meeting saying, well, you know, I'm going to try to do. And they catch themselves, and all of a sudden they change around. You know what? By Tuesday at 6 o'clock, I'm going to have it done.
Well, and that's when I approached the TV station and said, I am going to have my own show once a week and da-da-da-da-da-da. And the guy looked at me and said, okay, then.
Yeah.
You know, because I came in just positive, and attitude is half the key.
Yeah, it does.
This has been eye-opening and very educating for me because one of the things that we do with our families at Hope House is we teach them how to create what we call a PGP, a personal goal plan. But the thought never occurred to me about their limited knowledge of what a goal is, or that trauma might be impacting their ability to do that. And so week after week after week, getting frustrated in case management and not seeing the progress really means that there might be an ability why they can't do that. And so thank you for educating me on that, and to maybe look at things a little bit differently in the work that we do on not taking for granted that folks, when we always say coming to Hope House is an opportunity, right? You get 9 months to reset your life and transform your life. So let's get going. Let's make those goals. Let's reach and, make a strategy, and we're going to, and every week we're going to are you making your goals and everything? Maybe there are some external things that they need to overcome first before they
That
can
paradigm
even think about
may
that.
not work for them.
That's
The
right.
way it works for other
Absolutely.
people.
And are we pigeonholing people into, a strategy that might not necessarily be the right thing for some folks? So there are going to be a lot of happy people at Hope House starting tomorrow that are going to go, whew, maybe we don't have to set some goals.
You got
but
me
just
smiling because that is such a mission to understand that sometimes people set goals. That's one set, but then there's the idea of establishing and achieving those goals.
That's
It's
right.
a whole nother set of tools and resources and internal beliefs that you have to have. Intellectually, I can set a goal.
Sure.
But to accomplish it, I need so much more. That's why it's so important for people to walk alongside you and understand that you understand there's some things that's holding me back. Sometimes, now here's the thing that I really love. Let me leave you with this, because this has helped my life so much. It has a lot to do with you set a goal. A lot of people set a goal. It's not necessary to achieve that goal. It's to become the person that you need to become in order to achieve the goal.
Ooh, I like that.
And that's the thing.
You might
That's
have to
the-
say
It's
that
the
again.
journey.
It's the journey.
You set a goal, but you have to become that type of person
Yes.
in order to achieve that
Yeah.
goal. So when you say, I want to have my own TV show, you didn't just pop up one day with the talent and you got that vision, but now you had to work yourself into it. You had
That's
to
right.
learn how to script things, how to interview people. You had to learn how the technology work. You had to learn how to get up in the morning and prepare yourself for the show. And you
And
had to
lose
learn
those
the
40
timing
pounds.
and lose those 40 pounds and stuff. And so that, you became the person that could sit in that chair.
Yeah.
They didn't just give you the chair. You
No,
became that person.
That's right.
And that's what I love
That's why
about
you have to vision. You have to have a vision of it.
Yes.
Well, I hope our listeners have learned something from both of you. I was being smart in the beginning and when I said a power couple, but you truly are.
Oh, wow.
Thank you for the contributions you've made to our community and your grant writing and your coaching. I wish you just tremendous success to keep doing that, because like we were saying during the break, post-COVID, we need some coaching. We need to know
your
how to reset.
Address one more time.
Yes.
Reach me at info, I-N-F-O, at Alabaster, A-L-A-B as in boy, A-S-T-E-R, box, media.com.
And the date is
February
February.
15th at 7 o'clock p.m. If you reach out to me, I will send you the link to register.
I'm going to do that as soon as I get home.
and Dan gave the number 704-750-9670. You can call that number and reach me as well. You'll be routed. So you can reach Dan that way. His website is danhoustonassociates.com. Houston as in Texas. Houston Associates with an S on it.
Well, thank you so much for your
Fabulous.
time
It's
today.
been our
It's
pleasure.
been a great show, and we're going to have you back because there's more to the story.
Oh,
I think so.
wonderful. This has been such a good experience. Thank you. Thank you so much.
You are more than welcome.
opportunity.
Thank you.
The new 1059 100.7